This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. We're going to talk most confident picks, the lock of the week, my favorite underdogs, props / value bets, and we will finish it out with the parlays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn those post notifications on, and make sure to share the video as well. And let's get into this most confident pick section. And let's start it off with the first fighter who's in our main event, Magomed Ankalaev. I am very confident that he can beat Jan Blachowicz here. I do think it's probably going a bit longer. I don't love the prop betting side of this fight, though, because it's not impossible for Ankalaev to find success on the floor, maybe even ground and pound the Jan Blachowicz, but I could also see a very patient approach and an Ankalaev working towards a decision. Maybe he mixes in takedowns, but I also will tell you guys, I think he's going to be confident in the striking department, but I wouldn't think of it as a bad idea to time some takedowns. Now, if you're looking at the money line odds, it's minus 260. I know it's a bit wide, but it is a very confident pick and definitely a parlay piece. As we get to parlays at the end, you will hear the name Magomed Ankalaev another time, and I think you're going to hear him as the new champion on Saturday of the light heavyweight division. I'm very excited to see the fight, and I think Ankalaev should bring the belt back to Dagestan, and they got a big boy as champ now. It's not just the low weight classes. Now they're going to have a light heavyweight UFC champion in Dagestan. So looking forward to it. Ankalaev, one of the most confident picks here this week. Let's get to the next one. It's Edmen Shahbazyan over Dolce Legiambula. Listen, at minus 290, I know the line isn't great for Edmen Shahbazyan, but I really feel like he should win this bout. And he's fighting Legiambula, who's really not all that top line. He's very explosive, physically strong, kind of just a freak of nature, super jacked. But the side of Edmen Shahbazyan is surely the better technical martial artist by a long shot. The judo background, to me, isn't going to be all that in effect against Edmen Shahbazyan. I see distance striking from Edmen, especially in that big cage for a big pay-per-view event. We don't have to worry about the small octagon here. We got the full-size one, and I think that's where Edmen Shahbazyan does his best work. Now, I don't love the knockout prop here, but I will list it off for Shahbazyan. It's plus 135. If he wins the decision, there'll be no huge surprise on my end, but it's a must-win fight. So I am very confident he is victorious. Method of victory could be a harder one to throw down money on and prop up. Official pick, I lean the KO, but I could definitely see it going the full 3, especially if Legiambula has even a bit of success in, slowing the fight down with that clinch game. Still, Shahbazyan should be on the money. He should look dominant here. He should look better since switching camps. I expect this to be the best form. And he's 25, so the improvements will be vast, whereas Legiambula, 35, he's holding on by a strand in the UFC. This fight should be one-way traffic. Shahbazyan, very, very, very confident pick, and also potentially, maybe a little prop on the knockout, but parlay piece is definitely something I think you'll be looking at with Shahbazyan, if not going hard on the money line. Let's keep running. Next one. Oh, Paddy the Baddie. Yeah, Paddy Pimblett. I think he's a very confident pick. I know Jared Gordon, he trains with some Dagestani wrestlers, and I know he's going to be expecting some grappling in this fight, but I think Paddy Pimblett's jiu-jitsu is just too much, of a level up from him, man. I think he's going to be able to transition really fast on the floor. That's kind of my biggest selling point, is I think Pimblett is a quicker grappler between the two. As far as the wrestling, Gordon's not going to be easy to take down. I can still see Pimblett finding a way. I especially can see Pimblett even catching the back towards the cage. I do think the stand-up will be fairly competitive, and I think Paddy Pimblett can have some moments in the striking. I think this is like that must-win fight for Paddy, because now it's shift to real top-level UFC fighters, whereas, a loss here would be devastating to the Pimblett run. Now, he's minus 210 as the moneyline favorite, but I think submission at plus 225 is pretty damn likely too. Paddy Pimblett should beat Jared Gordon. I really think he should pull this one out. He's got that it factor. Obviously, we can't say it factor wins fights, but his confidence that he has seems there. His skill set on the floor especially. I know Jared Gordon can wrestle. I know Jared Gordon can box a bit. Not a huge knockout puncher, which I think really helps a guy like Paddy Pimblett out, who's known, not for being the greatest defensive fighter. The chin comes up a bit high. It's a bit of a technical flaw. And you see guys that they have that flaw. It's never fixed. And sometimes they don't go out. Paddy Pimblett, I don't think he goes out here. And I think he could even have success standing. I think he beats Jared Gordon by submission. I'm calling rear naked choke as the Mystic Mac pick. But plus 225 submission prop and minus 210 money line. High confidence on Paddy Pimblett. But let's jump to the lock of the week.
Jairzinho, Biggie Boy, Rosenstrike.
Jairzinho, Biggie Boy Rosenstrike over Chris Daukaus. Listen, I think Jairzinho is going to sleep Chris. Power punchers seem to have their way against a guy like Chris Daukaus, who definitely can box in his own right, but I feel like he can get cracked hard by a guy with the kickboxing prowess of Jairzinho, especially the hooks that he has. I don't like a guy coming off back-to-back KO losses either with Chris Daukaus, and he's been brutally slept in both those fights. Jairzinho has just as much power as a Curtis Blaydes. I think he could have close to the power, like up there, not maybe as much as Derek Lewis, but I mean, he's definitely in the heavy-handed heavyweights. Like, he's up there with all of them. He's got real knockout pop. He knocked out Overeem with, just a little bit of time left in the fight, in a fight that he was losing a lot of it. I think one big shot is really all he'll need to put the lights out for Chris Daukaus. And also, I mean, I don't think the wrestling is a huge hole for Rosenstrike. I think he can stop takedowns with Daukaus here, who's not a great wrestler, who has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but yet to really showcase at the highest level. And I don't think he's gonna here. I think Jairzinho Rosenstrike is knocking Chris Daukaus unconscious, and I expect it to be a hook. First or second round. Money line is minus 160. KO minus 105. I know neither, or I guess the money line is not bad, but the KO prop is not all that juicy. It's still in that minus territory, so you got to throw a little more down to make that 100 back. Money line at minus 160 is A1, but like we're pretty damn sure it's going to be a knockout win for Jairzinho Rosenstrike. That is going to be the lock of the week. The confidence is there as well as the value, so I like this one here. Rosenstrike by KO. Lock of the week for UFC 282. Let's jump to the dog section and let's talk about some underdogs. Dog number one that I'm going to bring up, it's Alex Morono. Yeah, I'm picking against Ponzinibbio. I know, Morono, short notice, but the reasoning for this pick is stylistic matchup. Morono being tricky with wide shots. Ponzinibbio getting slept by Leach on a real wide shot. And then age is a factor. Win streak is a factor. Momentum in the fight game is huge. And I feel like Alex Morono is at the best he's ever been, whereas Ponzinibbio is past his, relative prime. I'd say he's definitely past it. He's still a good fighter, and he's losing close decisions. And I think Alex Morono can push him in this fight too. I think Morono could secure a decision, but the KO prop is where the juice is at. It's plus 850. Now, the money line, plus 155 Morono, is your real dog of the week as far as I think it's a decent enough bet. I know he's coming in on short notice, but I expect an in-shape Morono with some serious sting in the hands, a little bit unorthodox too. I don't think Ponzinibbio is going to be able to deal with the awkward angles that he comes from, and I think it could be a competitive fight for sure, but I think Alex Morono gets his hand raised over Ponzi in this fight, coming in on short notice, taking a big chance. And I'll tell you this, I think that at this point of their careers, Alex Morono is a much harder fight than Robbie Lawler. Like off the couch Morono, I know we're thinking it's short notice, he's not going to be ready. I'm assuming he's training pretty damn hard and he's going to be coming in ready to rock and go the 3 rounds and put it all out there. Morono's a guy willing to put it on the line. I think he's going to have to here with an OG like Ponzinibbio. I'm going Morono for the win. Plus 155 money line, plus 850 for the KO prop. Let's talk about the next underdog that I like this week. It is Darren the Gorilla Till at plus 155. The KO props at plus 410. I think he beats Dricus du Plessis. I think it has a good chance of going long, but there is some width on that KO prop. The money line at plus 155, but I guess the big question is around which Darren Till do we get? Do we get the Till that people thought was a future world champ, or do you get a Till that shows up in okay shape, but not top of the line condition, and maybe isn't at all-time peak confidence either, or in the best mental state? we're going to have to see on the scale. So this might be one that you wait to see the weigh-in. Darren Till coming in looking ready to go. How does he look at the face-offs? How does he sound at the press conference? There's some intangibles with Darren Till, but especially physicality. We want to see how his frame is looking. I'm going to say he can do it because he's definitely the better technical striker than Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis is a very pressure-heavy striker who comes out really aggressive, throws hard shots, can land with some serious power, certainly. But Darren Till is a precise guy, someone that hurt Robert Whittaker in their fights. And I don't see why he couldn't find success against Dricus du Plessis if he's on his game. We're going to find out with Darren Till. Does the Gorilla still got it? I'm going to say yes. Plus 155, Darren Till, one of the underdogs I'm liking this week. Next one. This fight is going to be straight chaos. It's definitely going under 2.5. It's Daniel da Silva over Vincia Salvador. Listen, I know Salvador is coming off a big win on Contender, and I know da Silva is 0-3 in the octagon. But you look at their regional scene skill set, 13-4 throughout the regional scene for Salvador, where you have the other guy, Daniel da Silva, my pick, is like a Brazilian kind of, I don't want to say star, but like this Brazilian savage on the card, 11-1. He wasn't losing much out there. There's been some guys that Salvador has lost to that are and I think he's going to get chinned in this fight here against Daniel da Silva, a guy who comes out ballistic. I mean, you look at his fight against Victor Altamirano. He had him hurt bad in that first round. He looked like he was on the way to win. Daniel da Silva is a guy that I have always seen a good ability and very good explosiveness. Even his technical skills are there. His jiu-jitsu's there. He has all the makings of a guy that could be pretty good. He just hasn't put it together in the octagon. I think this guy, Vincia Salvador, a hands-low fucking brawler, pressure style, is perfect for him to shine. I think Daniel da Silva is going to find the chin and get a knockout. Plus 210, Daniel da Silva. Plus 650, Daniel da Silva for the win. I'm confident that he does it here. He beats Salvador, and I do think we're definitely going that under 2.5, but I feel like everybody thinks that because it's minus 420. The line's crazy wide for that. But I do think it's going short here. We're probably not getting into more than a 2 minutes into the second round. I really don't think it's a fight that goes all that long. Could be under 1.5 then, which is not a terrible play. Under 1.5 is minus 200. But yeah, it's Daniel da Silva, Lacerda on some spots, depending where you're at. He gets the win. And I think he gets the KO in his first UFC W against a guy who I see on paper as someone he beats. When I watch footage, I see as someone he beats. He finds the knockout here, and he gets the upset. Don't sleep on da Silva just yet. Let's keep running, and let's talk about this next dog. It is a risky one, the riskiest of risk. We had two 6-0 guys facing off to start it off. Cameron Simon, Steven Kozlo. Kozlo's plus 300. Cameron Simon is minus 330. I'm going Kozlo win by sub. But Simon's going to be a tricky out. Obviously, he's a guy with a good Muay Thai game, but I think Kozlo's going to have some A1 jiu-jitsu, and if they go to the floor is really where I see the shine for a guy like Kozlo. Now, he's coming in on short notice. How's the gas tank going to look? These guys on the lower circuit should be in that true fight shape at almost, all times. They got to be ready to step up at any moment. If you start making that prize money, 100,000, etc., 50K even, you might take some more time between camps. But when you're on a contract and maybe you're making $2,000-3,000 a fight, you got to be ready to go whenever they call, because when that UFC gives you that shot, you got a chance to make some real money. And I think Kozlo has the grappling chops to do it. This kid was an incredible amateur. It's not ideal circumstance to get into the UFC, but I think he's going to shine against Simon. I think he can beat him, and I think he can get Simon's back even. I'm going submission for Kozlo, which is plus 600. His money line's crazy at that plus 300 range. Kozlo for the win. I think he gets it done over Cameron Simon. Yes, he's a very big underdog. Maybe some risk, but I think someone you can throw down on. And you don't have to go nuts for it either. But I think he can do it. Hard fight with Simon. We're going to find out. Two young guys on the come up, 21 versus 25. I'm going to ride with Kozlo to get his hand raised. And let's jump to the dog of the week.
Chris Action Man Curtis.
Chris Curtis is my dog of the week. I think he can win by knockout over Joaquin Buckley. He's plus 145 money line. Knockout prop is plus 280, and under 2.5 is minus 140. I kind of like all three of those. Listen, Chris Curtis is in a damn hard fight against Buckley, a guy who comes to fucking crack, a guy who definitely can bang, has power in his hands, explodes really well, sneaky good kicks. I mean, I guess it's not that sneaky because everybody knows he had a knockout of the year in 2020, that freaking crazy spinning kick on Impa Kasanganai where he just flattened him out. Joaquin Buckley is not an easy fight for Chris Curtis, but I do think Chris Curtis is more accurate with his shots. I think he can crack him in close. I do think, even though he might not look as explosive, pure power for power, Curtis might have a little more force on his shots. And I say he finds that Buckley chin and can knock him out. I do think this is a great fight. I think it's going to be a blast. I think money line at plus 145 is the number one best option. Out of all the under, whatever, it's money line. Because Chris Curtis is a very experienced vet. I mean, would it blow my mind if he played it more on the safer side and outpoints Buckley for a decision? No, it wouldn't. So I think the money line attack is your best option. KO prop at plus 280, some decent value. The under 2.5 minus 140, it's honestly not my favorite, but I think it could come through. But I feel like Chris Curtis is the side who's getting the knockout win. I think Buckley, because he's been chinned in the past, you look at Chris Curtis, Ray Cooper III was able to flatline him, but this was Ray Cooper who was grinding him out in that first round with the grappling and then sleeps him early in the second. Very different stylistic matchup, long time ago. Chris Curtis for the win. I say that he's going to beat Buckley, and I think he's going to get the KO as well. And let's jump towards the value bets / prop section. So for this one, I have both, but it's one fighter who is going to be the value bet and the prop. Eric Silva to win, money line, it's minus 110. I think he's got a good shot to beat TJ Brown. I'm confident he does it, especially at this value. Submission, plus 280. That's the prop right there. I think he is going to win by submission. I think there's a good shot that he can do it. TJ Brown has been tapped in the past, and I think that Eric Silva can find that sub in this one. We're going Eric Silva, the money line's minus 110, sub, plus 280. That is the value bet / prop section. And I want to close it out with the parlays. So make sure you guys smash the hell out of the like button. And let's see what you think of these parlays. Ankalaev and Rosenstruik, your safe play. This right here is keep it on the safe side. I'm confident this one comes through. It's plus 115 for that. If you're like, listen, I want all the most confident picks in there, we go Ankalaev, Rosenstruik, Shabazian, and Paddy Pimblett, plus 305. I think that could be sneaky good. Yeah, I like plus 305 of that. I think all four of those got a real good shot. Then if you're like, listen, I want some value with it. I want to go dog hunting. All right, I'm going to ride with the Silva in this play. I'm going to put Chris Curtis, and I'm going to put Magomed Ankalaev at plus 890. More of that lottery ticket, but I think these are three guys that can do it, and I really think the Silva's getting slept on is going to prove a point with Salvador here. Next one, if you're like, I want a little more steam, I want these dogs, De Silva, Curtis, Ankalaev, Rosenstruik, plus 1,480. Obviously, we're going a little bit nuts, right? We're keeping these same dogs in. You guys can mix and match it. Try to keep it on the safer side. Maybe you don't love one of the picks that I have in there. Remove it. Put one that you're feeling good about your own. I would say your most likelihood of success is the two-fighter play, Ankalaev, Rosenstruik. Anything more you add beyond that, you're getting in that risky territory. Like 3 or more, especially over 3, it's lottery ticket plays. But there's huge money that can come back, and people have won a ton on them, and it's not impossible. Okay, you want more. You're like, listen, I'll keep the dogs. I want to go crazy. Edmund Shabazian, Jairzinho Rosenstruik, Magomed Ankalaev, Chris Curtis, and then we get Da Silva on the slate. And we also add in Eric Silva on the slate, plus 3,935. We're banking on a lot of ifs here, though, because we're rocking with some dog money. Now, if you want to go for the crazy all-dog parlay, I have to lay it out here. I'm going to do it right now, live. I didn't write it down beforehand. I'm going right at it right now because I'm feeling good about it. I wasn't going to include it, but I'm going to. Darren Till, Alex Morono, plus 550. So, right, let's add a little more on there. Let's add in the side of Chris Curtis, plus 1,461. You know what? Let's keep Eric Silva on there because why not? He's close money favorite, plus 2,879. It's even Stevens. Daniel Da Silva, add him in, plus 8,985. So realistically, if I sniped out a slate of underdogs, you'd be getting some crazy plus money. And then if we also added in Kozlov, can you imagine this came through? If somehow this happened, guys, this would be insane. Plus 36,248. You probably won't even be able to play this. Darren Till, Alex Morono, Chris Curtis, Eric Silva, Daniel Da Silva, and Steven Kozlov. Yeah, that's insane. Plus 36,248. That's just Hail Mary. That's right there. I think that's like shooting in the dark. That's high risk. Maybe you throw $1 on it and get something crazy back. Ultimately, be cautious with your parlays. Stick on the safer side. I think 2-3 fighters is your better way to do it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you agree with my lock of the week? What's yours? Do you like the dog of the week? Parlays. Definitely let me know. I'm curious what you guys are playing. I appreciate everybody for the support. Make sure you guys smash the hell out of the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on. If you really enjoy the content, share the video. And also, if you have nothing to say in the comments, drop a W in the chat just to boost that algorithm for your boy. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everyone.